It's Tuesday, and two things today. One, it's a damn good day to be a realtor, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And two, it's even better if you're a Keller Williams realtor. Hot damn. Look at you guys. You're winning at life already. One of the things is I learned early in my life is I don't need motivation. I create it just like you can, right? You ever need to get pumped up for something? You got to get yourself charged. You got to like slap yourself around a couple of times. You got to get in the zone. Well, the further you get in any endeavor, you will be able to create that zone on your own. You'll be able to flip a switch and turn it on. So just know that you have the power to self-motivate just as well as I have the power to motivate you.
Is that motivation or is that discipline? There's a difference.
Discipline is the action of doing something you're supposed to do, even if you don't want to do it.
So why not do that and then use that to motivate you? Motivation is temporary.
Motivation is temporary until discipline takes over. But the beginning of any habit starts with a desire to change. That's your motivation. Sometimes internal motivation is a lot stronger than external because you may lie to me or your coach on whatever goal you want to accomplish, but you tend not to lie to yourself, because when you set a goal for yourself, subconsciously you have written a contract of goods, and you'll be more likely to lead into it than when you start thinking about it all the time. And that's that switch we're talking about, is getting that switch turned on so you can get into the motivation of getting changed. And then, like Gio said, get the habits, build the discipline, right? Gary Keller said there is no such thing as discipline, just people with really good habits. Well, you're right. If your first thing in the morning is to pick up a milk chocolate bullshit from, Star Bros or whatever, Dutch Bucks, mocha chocolate bullshit, as Anthony Robbins calls them, then you're probably going to have a more sugary diet, and that's going to lead to the consequences of a more sugary diet. If your habits are wake up in the morning and go for a walk and then come back and squeeze the life out of some poor fruit to drink its remains, then your life is probably a little different. Some of you are laughing at that because you got the visual of harming poor fruit. How dare you? How dare you? Those fruit have feelings. But when you have a switch in your head, and that is, I have things to do, like yesterday's conversation, I have things to do. That's the discipline that will allow motivation just to take over. You know what? I don't want to get up right now. I don't want to jump on this 8 o'clock call. I don't want to do a lot of these things. But then in your head, you're all, but I'm still going to. And when you leave, you're like, I'm fucking glad I did that. Every time I leave the gym, man, I'm glad I went. I didn't want to go, but I had to self-motivate to get there. I didn't need someone to call me up and go, yo, Gio, go to the gym. No, I just get up and go, right? Eric didn't need to get called this morning at 7:55 and say, yo, Eric, get on the call. He did it himself. We often think motivation is this really big, grandiose thing. It's often just the discipline to get us moving into action.
Just do what you say you're going to do.
Exactly. Don't talk about it. Be about it. If you're going to say or do something, show up and do it. Like I said, when you said you're going to do it, I love Anthony's shirt because I said I would. Man, it's almost like he got the memo this morning. So that being said, what did you say you were going to do yesterday that you didn't do today, right? Did you wake up early and drink a glass of water? Did you go for a walk? Did you skip this sugary cereal and get something good for you? Right? Just because yesterday we didn't accomplish what we set out to do doesn't mean you can't today. But I think it's more urgent than it ever has been, because yesterday is over and today is anew. We can't go back in the past and change our actions. However, we can change the trajectory by putting more into the fire. We are almost halfway done with the year. Well, technically we are halfway. We're halfway in 12 days, because July is like the second half of the year. But any work we do today, when does it close? 60 to 90 days from now, right? So we're more than halfway through the year. So if your goals for this year are not where you want to be, like let's say you wanted to do 10 and you're at 3, what's the difference? Someone do the mathing.
7.
Oh, geez, Drew, look at you coming out of the woodwork with the good answers. 7 deals. Okay, that's 7 deals in the next 6 months. It was just going to be 5. but you got to add 2 extra to it. Do we move the goal or do we change our activities? That's where you make the decision today.
You tweak your activities.
Yeah.
You adjust.
Has anyone ever heard the 1% rule? A lot of change happens at 1%. What happens at 32 degrees? Does anyone know?
Freezes.
Water
Water
freezes.
Okay. So we got some scientists on the call. I like it. What happens at 33 degrees? Does water freeze?
No.
No.
No. So what happens at 211 degrees?
Vaporizes.
Wrong, because it happens at 212. The difference of 1 degree is an atomic shift. But do you get water to go from room temperature to 212 degrees instantly? How do you get it there?
Baby steps.
Energy.
Process. Time.
1 degree at a time, right? It doesn't skip steps, does it? No, it progressively. I can't even talk this morning. It progressively gets hotter with the action of energy and time. So you as a human being, as a business, as an entity, as a pot of golden water, are you going to hit your boiling point where you start making some atomic shifts instantly? Or is it going to take time and effort over time? Nobody became a world dominating athlete overnight. Nobody was born the strongest man. Nobody was born the best female tennis player. They were born with the opportunity to become, or maybe even the genetic markers to have an advanced opportunity there, but there still was a ton of work involved. They had to get motivated. The motivation was to become great, and then the discipline took over. Every day, every single day. So I don't care if yesterday was a failure. I don't care if last week was a failure. Hell, I don't care if you were to call your family and that was what they would define you as. Rewrite the story today. Draw the line in the sand. If you don't have any sand, go get some salt, pour it on the counter, draw a line. Step over it. Unless you're not able to get on the counter, then do it metaphorically. You know what I'm saying? Eric, I can see you falling off the counter already. Please don't do that.
Joe's at the beach. Have him draw the line for everybody.
There you go. Perfect. But when it comes to making that change, there's your motivation. Internalize it. Today is the last day that I'm going to accept X from me. Or today is the last day I'm going to accept X from my life. Today is the last day I'm going to tolerate certain things. Set ground rules for your life. Set ground rules for yourself. And know that you are putting yourself in a position that every day to get 1% better.
I have a comment.
I don't change. I don't need you to change overnight. But what I do need you to do is make habits that will help you become 1% better, because that's more sustainable. What do you got, Gio?
Does that dissecting what you just said and what you said right now, initiating action, technically you are making change instantly because you're now on a new path. You're not going to reach your goal instantly, but you're technically initiating change instantly the moment you say, this is what I'm going to do now. If we really break it down to that level, right? So,
I could even challenge that a bit further, Gio. You don't initiate change until the action. Saying you're going to do something is nothing. You know what? I'm going to jump off the roof and fly. We ain't going to prove nothing until I take that first step.
right.
Talking is one thing. Stating a goal is one thing. Writing it down is another. Having the action plan to move forward is another. And I think the most important. We all have vehicles, right? Most of us know how to drive. If you don't know how to drive, you don't know what a car is, you can just make believe, be a Flintstone. In order for a vehicle to get moving, we have to do a bunch of things in the right order. Right? We can't jump in and just hit the gas and go. Well, we have to jump in, turn the key on, put it in gear, then go. There's a lot of things that happen in the right order before things will happen. Just like in our business, there's a lot of things that have to happen in the right order. First, you got to get your mind clear and start getting into the frame and start talking to people. And hell, sometimes you're going to get into that frame in the middle of talking to people. Create relationships. But the one thing is you can't talk about having more business without actually going out there and doing the activities. You can't talk about building a bigger life without actually going out there and doing the things that are going to yield a bigger life. It is impossible to think your way into millionaire status. That's why there's so many dumb rich people. You all smile a little bit at that because you all know somebody who's stupid and rich. And if you don't, Google Island Boys. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes people that overthink will stop themselves from action. And even from there, it's people that talk too much. It is, what is it called? Cheating your dopamine when you talk about your goals too much, when you talk about what you're going to do all the time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy this. Well, because you trick your brain into having these dopamine releases, getting excited about the future you're going to have, and you never realize it. But having a goal, like I talked about yesterday, is a fantastic thing. Like I said, if you don't have long-term vision, I don't care if it's a today goal, a tomorrow goal, a next week goal, or hell, an 2-hour goal. I want you to set a goal. But now is next day. We're going to move into the action of it. What actions do you need to take, in what order, what consistency are going to allow you to achieve those goals? When it comes down to what you want to do in life, we need the goal. We need the starting point. Just got to figure out the recipe. The motivation to get started is the motivation to change. And from there, just know, well, I want to do this. This is what it's going to take every day. And if you're willing to do it every day, let's go. Practice, practice, practice. That being said, my 15-minute rant is over this morning. Hopefully it touched your heart a little bit. I got some head nods, some smiles out of it. But ultimately, I want to see some action change. I want to see some things pop up for you. I want a random encounter to turn into an awesome real estate opportunity because you put yourself there. Opportunity does not knock 2 times. It knocks once and walks away. And one of the most impactful things I ever heard about that was that you don't lose an opportunity. Listen closely to this next part. Someone else took it. And if you're competitive like me, that don't work. You don't come into my kitchen and take my cookies. There's a reason they're on the top shelf. I make it real hard, but there's people out there trying. Until then, high five.